So it's a good reason why he's not here. But anyways, I'm Joey Langerbunner. I've been involved with the Liberland project since 2017. I am currently ambassador at large. So who here knows about the Free Republic of Liberlands? Just to kind of gauge it. Okay, so we have a decent amount of people here. Okay, so let's just briefly go through stuff. If you guys already know stuff, but let's talk about DAOs and kind of about Liberland, and let's just kind of go for it. All right. So if you know about Liberland, it is about a 7 square kilometer land in between Croatia and Serbia that we claimed. How did that happen? Well, after the fall of Yugoslavia, there was a border issue between Croatia and Serbia, and it was just simply a serendipity thing where just land was unclaimed, so we claimed it, and this is about the size. It's about the same size as Gibraltar, and about 2.5 times the size of Monaco. So it's a decently sized country. All right. So when we launched in 2015, and up till now, we've received over 735,000 applications from citizenship in almost every single country. This is huge. Does that mean we're going to have all these types of citizens? No. We want to make sure we're bringing in the best of the best. But this shows the gauge of interest in a new jurisdiction in a new startup country. Okay, now we're talking about country. What is a country? So according to the 1933 Montevideo Convention on Rights and Duties of the States, it's 4 things. A permanent population. Okay, let's talk about that. As of about 8 months ago, we've had a permanent population on Liberland. What does that mean? It means we have people who are living there full time. Okay, perfect. So we got the first point. Defined territory. We have defined territory as we showed you before. A government. Right now we have a current government. We just launched our DAO. Where we are gonna be using meritocracy and DAO governance to essentially create, like senators and congressmen and stuff like that, and have an election. And the capacity to enter relations with other states. I mean, this is important. President Vid is currently down in Argentina speaking with Malay. We've been on trips to El Salvador, where we've spoken to the government there, and a few other countries. So we fit all of these 4 things, which defines a country. So Liberland, I don't know what everyone's political beliefs are, but ours is we like freedom. So if you like decentralization and you like liberty and free trade and stuff like that, then you will find Liberland as your home for a free country. So we're inspired by Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Singapore. We were established on April 13th, which is Thomas Jefferson's birthday as well. So let's get into tokens. So Liberland has 2 tokens, okay? So the first one is the Liberland Merit, which is essentially your share in the country. So that means that you have voting rights. You need 5,000 of these tokens to essentially become a citizen of Liberland. So if you have 4,000, you need 5,000. And we do that is because we want you to invest into the country so you have stake in the country. So you use this token to vote in elections, vote in referendas, and this is kind of your way to pay tax. It's all voluntary. You don't have to, but if you pay more and you have more merits, you're going to have a larger vote because you have more at stake. And then there'll be dividends, and you could always unstake and stake and stuff like that and sell the market. Okay, so that's one token. A second token. Okay, why do you guys need a second token? So the Liberland dollar, it launched on 2 exchanges in the past week, actually, so which is huge news. This is the operational chain. So the Liberland Merit is kind of like your political voice and your shares. The Liberland dollar is essentially like the main chain. So it's your operational token. So you pay the gas fees, storage fees, you do contracts on it. If you incorporate a company, it's going to be on this chain. The courts system will be on this chain. Validator rewards, because this will be proof of stake. You'll get rewards in Liberland dollar. You can currently buy Liberland dollar on Coinstar and Emirates, and we're working on a few others. So that's kind of like a 2 token the way we do things. And then you'll be able to launch your own tokens on Liberland dollars. So if you want to launch your own DAO as a company, then any type of transaction you do that, you'll be using the Liberland dollar. So let's get into a little bit more of like the diplomatic stuff. We have over 100 representatives in 100 different countries. There's currently 193 recognized UN jurisdictions, and we have 100 representatives in these countries. So we also have the Liberland Aid Foundation, which I sit on the board of, and we've done humanitarian campaigns in Haiti, Serbia, Croatia, Artsakh, and a few others. The most notable one is that we did in El Salvador in 2021, where we donated, we did the first Bitcoin donation in El Salvador to the only children's hospital. So this is a picture of the team back in 2008 when we did, or I'll say we were interrogated by the EU Parliament. So we had a bunch of supporters out there. This is also a bunch of our supporters at the Trump Hotel. We had an event at the Trump Hotel. This is us when we went down to El Salvador when we were meeting with the Minister of Economy. And as you can see, the gentleman, this is President Witt. He was actually invited to the UN last year to receive a humanitarian award. So this was actually the first time that Witt was actually invited onto UN campus on behalf of the Liberland Aid Foundation, which is a huge step for us. So this is Witt speaking to ALEC. ALEC is one of the biggest lobbying organizations in the US as well. So this is us. We were doing a film and cultural thing in India as well. So like we travel around and try to make connections. We do have a few countries that actually recognize our passport in Africa. The only one that I can be public about is Somaliland, who's also working on the recognition. But we have 2 other countries that are not publicly announced yet. And this is the big thing. So if you guys know about the project of Liberland, we're in between Croatia and Serbia, okay? So Serbia has been very friendly towards us, but Croatia unfortunately has been giving us some difficulties. So last year, the president of Croatia was speaking at a certain event, and Witt, our president of Liberland, went to that event and actually struck up a conversation for the first time, and he wasn't kicked out. So this was actually a pretty, beneficial thing. I mean, this was the first time, after working since 2015. So it was a short conversation. We have this island off the coast of Dubai, where we're going to be essentially setting up some servers, and we threw like a Liberland flag on. We have some big supporters out there. Now, what's important? When you are trying to make friends in a certain jurisdictions or with certain jurisdictions, you want to make friends with the local population. So what we did here is essentially we just sponsored the local team of Batina. Batina is kind of like the region that is most east in Croatia, and that's kind of where we are. And Visit Liberland is kind of like our, let's say like our tourism ministry. So anytime you see Visit Liberland, you see it's always surrounded about bringing tourism not just to Liberland, but especially the surrounding areas, because we want to bring money and engage the local population. So speaking of investing into the local area around Liberland, we bought a huge plot of land very close to Liberland in Serbia, and we call this the Ark Village. So what you see here, we built out maybe about 60% of it so far. So this is where we will have most of our cultural events. So since this is on the Serbian side, we do a lot of cultural events with like the local Serbians. So, as I said, this is pretty important. And also we have an economic hub that is close to the town of Apatin. And Apatin is kind of like the major town that's on the Danube River, very close to the Ark Village. So we do have a free trade zone there. If you're looking to build a physical business, we can help make relations with that free trade zone that's right on the Danube, and you can trade right into the EU right there. So this is huge. Last year was when we first started having our main settlement and actually having people living, breathing. It's their new home in Liberland. Essentially, what happened is that Croatia started to kind of make a border between Liberland and them, which is good and bad. It's good because they're now defining a border, and it's also good now because if you want to enter Liberland, you essentially have to register with the Croatian authorities and say, hey, I'm going into this land, which is really important because if you're going from the US to Canada or something like that, like there's a border you cross and you have to tell authorities. So you'll tell the Croatian authorities, get permission from them, and then when you cross into Liberland, we'll give you a Liberland stamp in your passport. Amazing. And as you saw, that happened very, very recently. So this is kind of like a map of like what Liberland looks like. So again, it's about 7 square kilometers, when we're thinking about what to build there and stuff like that. If you look, let me see, like the top right, this building, part of it used to be the only concrete building in Liberland. And so we wanted to essentially turn that into kind of like a town hall and stuff like that. And then if you look at the picture below with all the houseboats, most of our infrastructure right now, since, as you can see, it's right on the river, is just tons of houseboats. So the way that we can get maybe like 50, 60 people to essentially settle on the land and like live in a comfortable place instead of just a tent, so they'll be on these nice fancy houseboats. But with that being said, as you can see, we have been able to build small structures. Of course, I don't have a picture of a skyscraper in Liberland yet, but we're coming from humble beginnings, and so this is where we're at. And then you see the other picture with the boat. That's kind of like a view from one of our houseboats, and it's like we'll have a bunch of boats come up and we'll have like a boat party and stuff like that. And every year we have an event in August called Floating Man, which is kind of just like a Walmart version of Burning Man. But essentially we get a bunch of boats, we come up to Liberland, and we have like a little festival. So that's like mid-August. And this picture right here is our first settler. So these people lived and breathed. Some of them were living on tents there, camping and stuff like that. But what's important is that we need a physical settlement there. And so these guys kind of took care of that. So this right here is what our first hotel is going to look like. It was basically developed, at least like the design by Zahid Architects, which is one of the most famous architects in the world. And they're kind of, and they're also like Liberlanders as well. But this is kind of be like the first hotel that we'll build. Here's another picture of kind of like the inside of what's going to look. So we're going to try to make it modern and these kind of things. Last year we had the first wedding in Liberland. So this is important for, so if you want to get married, in Liberland, we have like a whole platform, in a whole way like that. Like these are small things you need to do, have someone born in Liberland, have a wedding, to essentially bring life to this particular jurisdiction. So here's a bunch of us on the beach. We have a huge community. So if you can find me in this picture, I'll give you $10. Maybe. I'll go back. Check it. I guess I'm keeping my $10. So anyways, if you guys thought this was interesting, if you like new jurisdictions, if you like startup countries, I know this is kind of different than like a network state type thing. We're trying to go through like the legacy way. Then I'll see you in Liberland, become a citizen, come here, settle the land for a month, and we'll actually give you a parcel of land as well if you're interested in that. And you want to do some camping or get on a boat, let me know. We're doing excavations events. We're doing a Liberland Marathon, and of course our anniversary, which is on April 13th. So our next event is going to be coming up very soon. So how can you get involved? How can you essentially join the club? You can become an e-resident. The e-resident basically gives you the ability to come to our events, join our network, and these sorts of things, incorporate a company. But you're not a citizen. If you're going to become a citizen, then you need to buy 5,000 merits, and you could just go on Liberland.org and go through that process. We have a quick program. If you want your application fast-tracked, talk to me legally. If you want to start your company, as I said, just go to market.ll.land, but you need to be an e-resident. And so we have our main office in Prague, since President Vid is from Prague. So just kind of show you, what we're doing in the background. So this is basically a bunch of envelopes of citizenships and e-residence, that we'll mail out all over the world. And if you want to read more, learn how to contribute, scan the QR code, or just go to Liberland.org. And here's some Liberland propaganda of President Vid, his kid, and his wife, and it's nice and wholesome. So, all right, thanks, guys.